It was a quiet Sunday afternoon in a small American town. The sound of rumbling engines filled the air as a group of bikers rolled down Main Street. Black leather jackets, chrome shining under the sun, the kind of group that usually made people step aside when they passed. They called themselves the Road Saints. To outsiders, they looked intimidating: tattoos, long beards, tough looks. But underneath that rough exterior, they were a family, men who'd been through hardship, loss, and pain, and who looked out for one another. They stopped at a diner on the edge of town, a place they always visited to grab a bite and share laughs. Everything seemed normal, until the peace of that afternoon was shattered by the sound of desperate footsteps. A little girl, no more than 7 years old, came running toward them. Her cheeks were streaked with tears, her hair messy, her small hands trembling. The bikers froze as she screamed, "Please. Help me. They're beating my mama." For a moment, silence. The leader, a tall man named Tank, knelt down to her level. "What's your name, sweetheart?" he asked softly. "Emma," she cried. "Please. They're hurting her right now." Tank's face hardened. Without a second thought, he turned to his crew. "Let's ride." The engines roared to life. Dust rose as the bikers followed Emma down a dirt road that led out of town. The little girl rode behind Tank on his bike, holding tight as tears streamed down her face. When they arrived at the house, a small, worn-down trailer on the edge of the woods, they could hear shouting inside. A man's angry voice. A woman crying. Then the sound of something breaking. Tank motioned for the others to stay quiet. They approached slowly, like soldiers ready for battle. Then came the scream, a woman's scream. That was all they needed. Tank kicked the door open. Inside, a man stood over a woman, Emma's mother, his hand raised in rage. But the moment the bikers entered, he froze. His eyes widened as he saw a wall of leather jackets and steel chains staring him down. Tank stepped forward, his voice low but full of authority. "You lay one more hand on her, and you'll regret it." The man sneered, trying to act tough. "Who the hell are you?" Tank didn't answer with words. He took one step closer, and the man backed away, his courage melting under the weight of those cold, steady eyes. Another biker, Reaper, went to Emma's mom and helped her to her feet. Her face was bruised, her hands shaking. "It's okay," he whispered. "You're safe now." The man tried to protest, but Tank grabbed him by the collar. "You're done," he said, his voice calm but deadly serious. "The cops will handle you from here." He tossed the man outside just as a neighbor, who had heard the commotion, called 911. When the police arrived, the bikers stood by silently as the officers took the abuser into custody. One of them, an older cop who knew the Road Saints, nodded in quiet respect. "You boys did good," he said. But Tank wasn't thinking about praise. He turned to Emma and her mother. "Do you have anywhere safe to go?" he asked. The woman shook her head. "No, I don't. We don't have anyone." Tank looked at his crew. Without hesitation, Bear, one of the biggest bikers in the group, spoke up. "They can stay at the clubhouse. We'll take care of them." And they did. For the next few weeks, Emma and her mom stayed with the Road Saints. The bikers fixed her car, repaired her trailer, and helped her get back on her feet. The woman found a job in town, and Emma, for the first time in months, started smiling again. The bikers, who were once seen as outlaws, became her heroes. Every morning before school, Emma would run to the clubhouse to wave goodbye to her uncles, a rough band of men who had become her protectors. One evening, as the sun set behind the hills, Tank found Emma sitting outside, holding a small flower. She looked up at him and said, "Thank you for saving my mommy." Tank smiled softly. "You saved her, sweetheart. You were brave enough to ask for help." That moment stayed with all of them. A few months later, during a charity ride organized by the Road Saints to raise awareness for domestic violence victims, Emma and her mom were there at the finish line, holding a big sign that read, "Thank you, Road Saints, you saved us." When the crowd saw it, many couldn't hold back their tears. The bikers didn't do it for fame. They didn't want recognition. They did it because, beneath the tattoos and leather, they still had hearts that remembered pain, and the strength to stand against it. Emma's story spread across the town. People who once crossed the street to avoid the bikers now waved at them. The local paper ran a headline that read, "Tough Angels on Two Wheels Save Local Family." And every time someone asked Tank about that day, He'd just smile and say, "We're not heroes. We just did what anyone should do." But deep down, everyone knew, not everyone would have done it. Sometimes, heroes don't wear capes. They wear leather jackets, ride motorcycles, and answer a child's cry for help. Moral. Kindness can come from the most unexpected places. Never judge a book by its cover, and never underestimate the power of compassion, even from those who seem the toughest.